All right, today we're jumping into one of the most famous chapters in ancient wisdom literature, Proverbs 31. Now, you probably heard of it for one specific reason, but it actually paints two really distinct and fascinating portraits of what it means to be noble. So let's get into it.
So where does this famous text even come from? You'd think it would be some kind of royal decree or, a heavy philosophical text. But nope, it starts somewhere way more personal. It's actually advice from a mother to her son, who just happens to be a king.
I mean, that opening line, it hits you right away. You can feel the urgency, the passion. This isn't just some generic advice. This is a mother's heartfelt plea for her son, the king, to lead a life of wisdom and integrity.
The text frames his whole chapter as these sayings of King Lemuel, but then it immediately tells you the real source, his mother. So this first portrait we're about to dive into, the ideal king, it's all shaped by her teachings.
Okay, so here we go, our first portrait, the ideal king. And you gotta notice how his mother kicks off her advice. It's not with military strategy or how to get more power. It's all about personal discipline. She knows that real strength starts with what a leader avoids doing, long before you even get to what he should do.
So what are those big temptations that can just ruin a person in power? Her advice is super direct. Before she even defines his duties, she's building these guardrails, warning him about the things that can destroy a leader from the inside out.
And right here, this comparison is so powerful. On the one hand, she warns him against indulgence, wasting his strength and clarity. But on the other hand, she shows him the real purpose of that strength, to fight for justice. The big idea here is that his power, his vigor, isn't for his own pleasure. It's a tool for serving the public. And this really sums it all up. The ideal king, according to this, isn't measured by his bank accounts or his army. He's measured by how he uses his power, directing it outwards to protect the most vulnerable people in his kingdom. Now, after laying all that out for the ideal male leader, the text does a complete 180. It's like the mother says, okay, son, now that you know what kind of man to be, what kind of partner is actually worthy of you? And this is what kicks off that second and much more famous portrait. The text literally poses this question, right? It frames the search for this person as something incredibly difficult, incredibly rare. It's setting the stage for someone who is truly exceptional. So who is this woman of noble character? And what is she worth? Get this. The text says she is worth far more than rubies. Her value is just off the charts. It's something beyond any material wealth. But as we're about to see, this value has nothing to do with her looks. It's all about her character. Okay, so before we even get a single detail about what she does, the text lays the groundwork. It's all about trust, reliability, being a consistent force for good. This right here is the bedrock that everything else is built on. So starting from that foundation of solid character, the text builds this remarkable picture. And let me tell you, this woman is anything but passive. What we're about to see is a portrait of a dynamic, hardworking woman who is basically the CEO of a thriving household enterprise. Her work ethic is described in this flurry of action words. First, she's a discerning buyer, actively selecting high-quality raw materials. Then, bam, she's a real estate investor. She considers a field and buys it, with her own earnings, by the way. But she doesn't stop there. She's a developer. She plants a vineyard on that land, thinking about long-term growth and productivity. From there, she's in manufacturing. She takes those raw materials and makes fine linen garments. And finally, she's a merchant herself. She sells her finished products, running a profitable business that contributes to the whole economy. I mean, when you put it all together, this portrait is just stunning. She's a diligent manager, up before dawn, working late into the night. She's a savvy entrepreneur, making sure her business is profitable. And crucially, all this success doesn't make her selfish. She opens her arms to the poor. It's this incredible blend of business skill and social responsibility. But this whole description isn't just a long to-do list. The text then shifts from what she does to who she is. It focuses on the character that drives all her actions and the legacy she's building. Just listen to these descriptions. Strength and dignity are her clothes. She speaks with wisdom. She's so prepared, so secure that she can laugh at the days to come, totally free from anxiety about the future. This is a person with some serious inner fortitude. And this, right here, this is the core message of the whole chapter. The text draws a line in the sand. It says, charm and beauty, they're fleeting. they fade. But the things that earn real praise are a woman's character and her works, what she has actually accomplished with her life. And the result of a life lived like this? Praise, and not from strangers, but from the people who know her best. Her kids see her value. Her husband says, yeah, lots of women are noble, but you surpass them all. Her legacy is one of deep, earned respect, right there in her own home. And this brings everything full circle, doesn't it? Remember the king, whose strength was meant for justice, and this woman, whose hard work builds up her whole community? When you put these two portraits side by side, you see this powerful shared idea of what nobility is. For both of them, true honor comes from what they do, not from their status or what they look like. Their legacy is built by what their hands have done. So we're left with a pretty big question to chew on. This ancient text defines nobility by service, by industry, by character, and it kind of forces us to ask, in our world today, which can be so focused on the superficial, what does a truly noble character actually look like?